Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Well, our grapes are getting very close to ripening. We're getting very close to the Feast of Tabernacles. I figure that no later than when we get back from the Feast of Tabernacles, I will probably be harvesting these grapes. And hopefully I'll have a whole lot of them. Now, that's a very happy thing for me. Although back in there I see a few grape bunches that are shriveled up, we're still going to have more than we've ever had before. My hair's stuck in there because I got wrapped around there. Now, I moved some of the babies around. I think I showed that last week. Sugar's in here. Well, Sugar is in here not because she has any kids, because the situation out in the field is such that she needed in here for her own protection. Pecan, he's getting along to the size he's about ready to be put out with the other boys and weaned, especially since he's pretty much thinks he's a man now and a little too young for that. Of course, Sally, she's potentially going to be in with her mom for a long time. Sam over there, who's going to be here forever. Pecan, who's your Pecan? Who's your Pecan? You ready to go out with the other boys? He's like, no, of course not. What's that thing? Can I eat it? I want to eat it. Yeah, I can't have it. Chestnut, yes. Baby. Over here in this pen, we have, of course, we have Snippy Snap, Mercury and Bismuth, Ginger, and Goldilocks. So, they've been in here for a while. Again, this is all one family. Mama, daughter, grandchildren. Eventually I'll be juggling them around a little more, but probably, it's hard to say, probably not before the feast. So, now, onto this field. Well, this field has more people than it's supposed to. There's Franz, because he peed all over his face. On one side only, because I guess that's the side he does his stupidity with. There's Hansel. Hansel has a broken ear that's infected, and this coming week, tomorrow specifically, I will be putting him in quarantine, and in so doing, hopefully I can keep him from getting beat up while he recovers from his broken ear. Yes. So that ear is really swollen and full of blood or something. It's in bad shape, and you might lose it. Jelly, what are you doing? You might or might not notice I've got a little extra wire up here. Well, Candy got out the other day here and proceeded to run around. And over there, she got out over there, so that's kind of propped up a little bit. She's beating it up too, they all are. So, that area over there needs to be worked on some more too. But the big field problem is that one over there where it's been, so I can get all the boys over here. But I have a new wrinkle in my plan. And that wrinkle, by the way, since I'm here, that Rose of Sharon got one single flower on it right now. Or two, alright, but it's almost done blooming. And the white one, the little ones. So, no real change over here at the moment to update you on. Again, all the boys that were on the other side of the field, other side of that fence, where that tree's been. By the way, this hydraulic jack is here because I was using it to stretch fence wire vertically. It's just a good height to stretch 4-foot fence wire when it's crushed down. I'll be using it here later on for that same purpose. Over there, you may or may not notice that there is a tree on the ground. And, well, I think I already had that in last week's video, but either way, that tree, which I had to cut with a sawzall because all my chainsaws aren't working. And then I got other dead trees I have to bring out of there, lots of them, so I'm worried that I'm going to have trees come and knock more fences down soon. Now, while you can't see a lot of the babies because they're all in here, there's a place where I can see them all, and some surprise visitors. And I mean surprise visitors. There's Candy, and there's Hans, and there's Fluffy Puppy, and there's Boss, Mystery Boss. He's black, and we ain't named him because there's Junior. Dinner. Here's a dinner. I thought that was Fluffy Puppy. It's this dinner. Gosh, you got knocked in the side of the face, didn't you? You got punched hard. Yeah. They get in so many fights, and they get beat up fighting over the girls, and all they end up with is bruises and bloody spots, because Mr. O'Malley is going to win. Now, let me go and give you another shot of our unscheduled visitors here. And I mean, I went to bed Thursday night. Actually, I say went to bed. I went to bed Thursday night fairly late. But in the meantime, I quit working Thursday night because it was dark. And by the time Friday morning came and I got up, these three boys were all in here. They said, well, how'd they get in here? Well, the pony over here, the pickup, was in the field, part way over by there, and the gates were open. So Pony was backed into the area where the gate is, and the gates were both braced open so that they wouldn't hit the truck. I'm going to go in here to show you what I've been doing. So, in the process, this gate being open, because the truck was parked pretty much right here, straddle of the middle of the gate passage. Lo and behold, it was time for visitors, apparently, to come along and decide that they wanted to romance my girls. Mr. O'Malley, I assure you, is most displeased with that. And it's for their benefit that he's not in the same field with him. So he would probably he might not beat him to death, but he'd beat him up pretty bad. And since they're not ours, certainly not at this point anyhow, they might become legally ours someday, who knows. But right now they're not, and therefore right now, the least and last thing I need is for them to get injured. Especially since we don't know who they belong to. I can't even tell you what breed they are. They might be Spanish, they might be Kiko. I don't know Spanish at all. There's a lady that Mom used to work with back when she worked at the thrift store before it closed that had, I think it was Spanish. And these might belong to her. She's not very far from us. I don't know. But they're pretty big. I mean, they're not little toys. They're not near as big as Mr. O'Malley. They don't hold a candle to him. But they're pretty big. A little feeding and stuff they'll fill out. What you doing? I don't even know what to call them because, well, I don't know if they already have names. I wouldn't know it. I haven't come up with a name for them yet. That's as close as I've gotten to any of them yet. But I put some hay over here since they are here. We got a little rain recently and it's getting the grass up. In fact, one of the things I was glad to not have anybody in the field was because the grass was growing. And not only the fact it was getting bigger, but it was making seed. Well, so far they seem to be more worried about romance than their diet. So they've just nibbled on some hay over there in the sidelines and not really bothered with the grass too much, which is handy for me. Now, of course, you see the strap runs all the way from a fence post that's in concrete to this steel cable. Because that's the only way I have to put this. If I can't tie to this telephone pole or that old rotten tree or this tree, especially since they're at a skew angle, But I was able to strap through there and tie up there because I happen to have, well, a crazy number of straps. And then I got this 65-foot cable. It's not quite audible that I can strum it, but it's on there fairly tight, so I can pick up this torn down wire where that tree fell over. You can see. So I've got twine up there, mostly just for the time being, holding the wire up whilst I do other work to it. And these boards, there'll be one at each one of these posts. Okay, I've got 5 of them, and they're, I don't know, roughly 8 feet apart, something like that. It's 46 feet across here. And they will be anchored from that tree to that post, across there, right across the top of that. And when they are, what that will do, and then on top of the fact that there'll be some going this way, there'll be one teed over the top of it. I don't have an example of it, but there's some in that barn building there. So there'll be 2 boards parallel all the way down, and they'll be joined at some point about midpoint of the intersection or somewhere in between, and anchored to these uprights that'll be bolted to these T-posts. And then there'll be another one over the top of both of them, anchoring them. So there'll be 3 boards in a T structure that'll give it a lot of rigidity and framework. Speaking of T structures, here's kind of a T structure because I needed something to anchor this to pull. These bolts are too short. I gotta either find the right ones or go buy more. Don't know where the others are. This one's the right length, but these 4 are not, so hopefully I'll find them, because these are not biting into the tree. But what I've got here is I've got some blocks to keep this from rolling over, and then I've got these screws here holding into the tree to hold, and that part's just to keep this from rotating, because the force, if you notice, is pulling on this side, wrapped around, it wants to rotate backwards. When I'm done, in theory, they'll be all shot in at this angle, so they'll be going towards the tree and that way at a kind of a bevel. And it's on the more predominant strength side. If you put it here, you'd be guaranteed having a failure. If you put it all the way over here, it might come loose. But right there is the best you're going to get. And I think 5 of them would be enough, but if not, I can always, if I have more bolts, wherever lost them to. And this board was held up by that clamp to that cable somewhat while I got this all lined up, plus just kept it in till this bolt is holding the thing where it's at, and then eventually I'll get these all drawn up, and then this all be drawn tight. And I'll do the normal, crimping thing that you do with a pair of pliers or a hammer to tighten up the wire, to take all those zinc and kink out of it. And down here, I'll rebind it. I don't know if I'll use twine again or if I'll go get some tie wire. Neither one will last forever, but at least, well, the twine is cheap. In fact, it's free, and in fact, because it's a byproduct. Like that twine over there, been there for a while, and it's still holding on because nobody's tore it up. This twine over here, because the boys rub on it and the girls rub on it and everybody chews on it, has been getting pretty tattered, but for the moment, it's still holding. You can see some twine from before, and that'll be reinstituted along through there. But you notice it's getting a little ratty. Well, it does that both because of solar radiation making it weaker and because the goats rub on the fence, which is natural. It's their form of grooming, or a part of their form of grooming. So it'll have to be redone. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Of course, I've got to go in here. You see that clamp holding the gate shut. Well, for the time being, I still have to have the clamp, but I definitely need to get all this dirt that's been knocked down in here out of the way, because it's pushing the gate open and I can't close it properly. And so I got to get in here with a pick and a shovel. Wish I could get sunshine in here and do this. If I did, I'd get in here and cut it way back, because it really needs to be cut way back. In fact, it needs to be. What I need to do is cut this down to about that height there, kind of bring it in like that, and cut it down some. Not necessarily down below where the gate is that much, just enough that the predominant amount of erosion from that corner over there to the shadow following that post over to that telephone pole, cut that back some, so that a lot of the erosion has a place to go before it gets to here. And then that'll help kind of buffer. Now somebody said, what about driving in and out of there? Well, for a long time, it ain't going to be no truck coming through here. First of all, it's not that wide. But second of all, the only thing I really need in and out of here is a track loader. And so, because I've got all the work I'm going to be doing in here, all that old fence wire is going to be gone, and tin is all be gone out of there, the blocks and the dead trees. She'll just leave the little persimmon. The rest of these dead, all these other trees are all dead. I don't want to aim into the sunlight with my camera, but anyhow, so all these dead trees will come out, and then I got to dig down quite a ways through here. And so in the process of doing all this digging, I'll leave the trucks out here, and then I'll load them. But all the goats will be elsewhere. I'll have to have them in other places, since I can't have them in here while I'm working, especially since I'm going to have the thing tore all apart. And I'll be taking down fence and everything. So one reason I'm not over-investing in some of these fences is because some of them, especially the one in between the greenhouse and the field, are going to be lower because the ground's going to be lower. Well, no reason to over-invest in a fence that you're going to take down. I might even go in with all new wire too. Use the old wire for topping. And I don't know if you're wondering what I mean by topping. This is topping right here. I took one original strand of wire all the way around, and then I took parts of different height wire, like this is split in two. 5-foot wire split in two gives you 2'4", technically. And so it's looped to it. It's been beat up really bad. This fence wire is going to be eventually replaced anyhow. So this tree right here and that tree right there are also coming out. And I'm going to try to set up a post right at that. You see that piece of white PVC at the corner of the building? I'll put a post there and draw from there to this post, and in so doing, all this area that we're standing in will be taken out of the field. And people, you're already hurting for field, why would you do that? Because we'll put that motor home over here. This will become like a little driveway patio yard area, and it'll be facing this direction so that you get on and off from out there, or in and out from over there, and then it'll be backed up kind of against the fence a little bit. In fact, the motorhome will sort of help serve as part of the fence in a way, because, well, it's not really made to be a fence. It'll definitely serve an defensive purpose. It will definitely, you see how low it is to the ground. I'll have to skirt underneath it. In fact, I've been thinking that I'll end up putting it on blocks. Literally, in fact, might even go so far as, like I say, to lift the body off of the frame and make it a permanently stationary thing, or put it on this other truck frame when I get to that point. I don't know. This thing will no longer be powered. If that's the case, it'll become just a trailer. If I put it on that frame right there, it'll be a trick, and it won't be real easy. It'd be difficult. And so I may not do that, but I may do that. And in the other case, if I leave it where it's at and leave it attached to its chassis, then the only reason I really want to get it up off of the ground is I want it level, for one. And the other is I want to be able to take the tires off of it and have them available for other things. Not because I don't have enough tires and rims, but it never hurts to have a whole bunch of spares. And then if I need the thing, besides, that motor needs to be rebuilt, and if I have it higher up off the ground, I can work underneath the machine more easily. So it's to my benefit, if I leave it as a drivable machine, to put the thing up on blocks, take the wheels off so I can work on it more easily. Don't think I'll take the front axle off. Now you see how beat up everything over here is. It just about tore my hay crate completely off, and I can't blame them, they're goats. the feeder box, they tore it up really good. In fact, the only reason it's not upside down right now is because of the fact that last night I strapped it on there with that strap, tied it in place. Otherwise it'd be halfway down the middle of the field. So I've got a lot of work to do. Starting back tonight, I gotta get back on here and get into getting all these parts put back together. They're tearing it up, which that's what goats do by nature, so I'm not angry at them. And they're kind of tearing up my little canopy thing a little bit, but so far they've only tore it up a little bit. Maybe I can get in here with the air nailer and nail my braces back up before they fall down. I don't know. And oddly enough, because of the way they hit it, it actually kind of makes it a brace too. Shiny Silver, Jumpy Jeff, Papa Bear. He's a baby. Here's a baby. Here's a Shiny Silver. Here's a Silver. Here's a Jumpy Jeff. Here's a Papa Bear. Here's a baby. Yes. We've been out here for, I don't know, a month or so now? Not sure. I haven't kept track. I don't remember when I put them out here. I have to look at my own document. And they come in and out of here all the time. But the thing I was worried about is if they could get in there and crawl through there and crawl out. Well, so far, he hasn't yet managed to figure out how to do that because it's too tight. So, at the moment, he's able to jump in and out of there, but he's maybe or maybe not able, couldn't tell you he's not, but anyhow, he might be not able to actually crawl under the wire there, so hopefully it's all good. This coming Monday, we're scheduled to have an electric company guy from a not the electric company, not the utility company, but a company that does electrical maintenance and installations, come out and look at the phase converter. My brother and I ran through a full diagnostic on the whole system. We couldn't figure out the problem as a specific thing, but we did notice, and it might be the problem, but I'm not for sure. Let me go over here and turn the light on. He had these wires out. I guess he put them all back in. One of these legs, forget which one it was, he said is only at 40 volts. So they're supposed to be 220 volts. And he had various numbers between 119 and 107 volts on two legs and 40 volts on another. And we don't know why that is. Could be corrosion that we're not for sure of. Could be there's a gap in there somewhere that's nearly burned through but isn't visible because it's inside a conduit. There's no way of knowing for us. But we want the guy from the company, and because I don't have their permission to mention them, even though they've been around a long time, I'm not going to tell you who it is. If they want to be identified, great, and if they don't, I respect that. But, so that's supposed to be this coming Monday in the afternoon. They're supposed to come here and help us to figure out why this thing isn't running. And if they can do that, hopefully it won't take long to figure out what the problem is, resolve the problem, and have this thing back going, because these two machines are three-phase, and they are not able to run on single phase. So I have to have that phase converter working. My brother did mention briefly something that I had given thought to and had thought of even mentioning to him. I hear traffic. I was just looking outside the door to find out if I heard something. One of the things was he was talking about selling me the lathe, the phase converter, and a Bridgeport. And the reason for that is that way he can recoup his money and use it to build his planned new shop over where he lives. Now I'm all for it. Now admittedly I got to negotiate the price and the amenities, what I'm getting for the money, because he's not selling me everything, he's just selling me a chunk of it. Don't know how much. We'll have to get into that, because for what he paid for the lathe and the Bridgeport and the phase converter, I'll admit I could not go out and get it for the price he's asking. It just comes down to, though, is there enough basic tooling going to be around that I'll be able to use it moving forward. And there are some tools here that, since you only kind of need one of some of them, then there's going to be stuff here that he will be taking with him. And he wants to take his drill press with, he wants to take his bandsaw with. Wonder if he'll let me have that old beat up bandsaw. It's a junky bandsaw, but it's better than no bandsaw at all. So I'll see if I can convince him to let me have that in the deal. Other than that, most everything in here, and I see that, a lot of this stuff is his. The big stuff is his, and we'll go with him. That's his engine hoist, his pedestal grinder assembly, his toolbox. The welder behind it is his. And then, like I say, the lathe, the Bridgeport, the drill, both bandsaws are his. So the only thing that this deal for me is the bandsaw, is the lathe and the Bridgeport and the phase converter. Nothing else. His toolboxes, he's actually got that toolbox over there too. And I have toolboxes, they're just not in here. Anyhow, basically, in fact, probably what happened is if that drill press goes away, I might put that hydraulic press where that drill press is. In fact, I could actually see using the hydraulic press as a drill press, because the way I've got it built, it's designed to have a vertical telescoping cylinder of about 36 inches of travel. Well, no, 24 inches of travel with 12 inches of cylinder, and then a certain amount of space below it. And it'll be a telescoping cylinder rather than a single piece cylinder, because that'll give me more options and still give me as much as 250 tons of pressure at full force. So it'd be stepped down in force for, if you have a piece right at the top, 250 tons, and the next one would be like, say, 200 tons, and then the last little piece would be 100 tons or something. I don't know, less anyhow. And but I can also take and have a telescopic, or because the height between that point and the ceiling, I can have a telescopic drill quill, driver quill, kind of like the Bridgeport, and I can have it geared any way I want. I can have multiple speed settings on it. I could literally even do something a lot of people have talked about but I've never seen, is use an actual automatic transmission out of a car. And now I have no idea what I'm going to use it on, but I have a 10 horsepower 3-phase motor. It's out here. Now, separate from that, of course, I have, now, and again, for those who are not sure, that's my welder there. That's my air compressor, his air compressor inside there. We'll be going with him. This is my air compressor, and I'll be putting it in the shop. This thing has a 15 horse motor on it, and it's designed to be a welder, but I would potentially want to set that up as mounting on the back of a truck as a portable generator welder rig with its own motor, gas powered. And I've got several single cylinder engines I can use for that. On the other hand, over here, way down below all this junk, and I'm sure I videoed it sometime in the past. Boy, it's buried. I don't know if I can get to it without. I got hundreds of pounds of crap. Way down in here, it's almost invisible under all this other garbage. I've got a 10 horsepower 3-phase motor. It's actually set up as a pump right now. Let me see if I can get to it. That's the back end of it right there. That vane and vent. It's a 10 horsepower motor, and it is potentially, you could even make a phase converter out of it. But like I said, I think what I want to do is I want to take this 15 horse over here. I don't know that I'll ever use 30 horse, but if I do, I want to take that one over there and potentially use it. Like I say, there's like that cavity there on this truck bolted up in there with a motor attached to it to drive it, and that would give it the ability to be welding power and 480 three-phase, 240 or 480 three-phase as I needed on a job site. And I've got 196-foot three-phase cable I can use for extension cord. This down here, I think I've showed before, that's a 2 horsepower three-phase hydraulic pump. Can't remember if it's 2500 psi or what. Might even be adjustable. But anyhow, that would be part of my hydraulic press. I don't think too many of the other items back here are particularly heavy shop manufacturing items, but I've got different things back there. I don't know where all of them are at right now. They're buried in here. The old cliche, they're in here somewhere. But anyhow, so that's pretty much all my I hear something over there. Huh. Must be chickens. It's either that or goats. I think it's chickens. Yeah, that's chickens. Anyhow, as far as updates on anything, this thing, which has looked nearly dead forever, did put on another fruit. Not very much of a fruit. And generally, it's been doing pretty terrible. I've been seeing videos on how to spiff up the health of a plant, and I'm going to try some of them because they're super easy. One is trying to use a yeast mixture, and one is using hydrogen peroxide. I get an idea from the way they describe them. They should work together, I'm hoping. In other words, you should be able to do both at the same time. Hopefully. We shall find out the hard way, I suppose. This thing has really struggled. And I don't know if it's because of the soil condition, if it's because of the zinc coming out of the water, rainwater coming into it, or what exactly, but it's kind of struggling. So I'm hoping that I can end the struggle with some of the nutrient mix and maybe make it thrive. We'll find out the hard way. Other than that, the hazelnut over here has flowers for next year coming on. They weren't maybe as obvious before. They might have been. I don't remember if I mentioned them last week. But it does have the flowers on it. Whether or not it makes any nuts or not, I don't know. It made a few flowers last year and didn't make anything. This thing made a few flowers and literally made exactly the one. Oh, there it is, right here. That's it. That's the only thing it did. Oh, it's a bug nest or something. Anyhow, unfortunately, it's not another actual hazelnut. So this thing is, they've been here and they've struggled. And if this nutrient idea works, I'll try it on everything. The more things it works on, the better, obviously. My neighbor's going by. Don't want to aim at them because they might not appreciate being videoed. And so, of course, no, track loader isn't finished, so it's not out to be used. Blue definitely needs the air cleaner put back on. Probably needs the battery charged and the cable unhooked. Because I don't think I unhooked the cable last time I had it out. I think the cable's still attached, which, truthfully, it shouldn't be, but it probably is because I just didn't bother taking it off, I don't think. And it's not that I couldn't, I just haven't let myself be bothered to. In fact, what I should do is take it off right here, because that's the easiest place to do it. Undo the ground strap there, and it'll be, somebody say, well, it could touch somewhere else. Probably not. Not the way I have it set up. It's just sitting there. It just adds just any reduction in the ability to conduct electricity, probably, because it's a really slow leak. But it does have some kind of drain on it somewhere. Anyhow, so that's, and the biggest worry is that battery will go dead and be destroyed, not to get another one. So that's where all these things sit. Of course, this thing still leaks from the hydraulic cylinder that has to be taken care of, and this thing leaks from underneath somewhere, and I have to take care of that. So there's all kinds of things that, God willing, will get done over the winter time, fall months. Just depends on how quickly I can get everything caught up with. And yeah, just loads and loads and loads of things that are done and not done, and just all the time things are in flux. Things are being fixed and things are being broken on a regular basis. I have not burned any more wood to collect any more wood ash, and obviously I haven't finished the field downstairs. And boy, all the flooding we have is very discouraging. So it wants to rip the fence out of the ground constantly. Pretty hard to have a field without a fence, and pretty hard to have a fence when a flood carries it off. I did, I think, get even if I didn't get all the horsemen, I got a very large amount of it. I still haven't sorted all of it. I've been sorting it, pulling sticks out of it. Flowers. Well, these are pretty little. I guess they're a form of ironweed that just has a different stem on it. There's a lot of them around, but not all in one place. A few more waxweed left. More of these little flowers that, whatever they are, they're fairly pretty. They're all coming up now this part of the year. I don't know what they're called. Of course, there's goldenrod coming up all over the place. Doesn't look super lustrous, but it's here. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't had very many super lustrous years. Now, for one year here, we had crazy amounts of daisies in this field. This year was not that year. This year we didn't have, that I know of, a single daisy come up in that field. I thought they were perennial, but maybe they're not. So yeah, my little burn pit experiment there, I got to clean all that up, set that up to collect the ash more efficiently, sift out all the particles. Need a tumbling sifter. Still haven't done anything with my iron ore, which is getting more and more evident every day. With every rain and with every time I drive a vehicle over it, more of it's showing up. And I think I showed before that it's actually not attached to bedrock, it's actually floating on top of another layer of clay, which means that the bedrock rotted away a long time ago. And see right here, this darker red, that's more iron ore right there too. Same deposit, it's following the trend of the hill through here. And it goes all the way through here and off in that direction. I've been meaning to do this. I'm gonna call the video here because I want to make a little report about the trenches back in here that have been in here for a while. And although this isn't my land in theory, if the present owner dies, their son, who will inherit it, promised they'd sell it to me. It's 10 acres. Alright, so I'm going to pause this and start a new video.